All right, welcome. You're in tune to 89.1 FM. Let's turn the fader down there. Yeah, that was Break to Broken. But we have the real Break to Broken in the studio. So, Clint, I want to welcome you into the studio. And also, I hope, technically, all things going well, Josh and Eli in the States. G'day, Clint.
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening. And are your brothers... Eli and Josh?
Justin.
Justin.
Eli
I made a
and
mistake.
Justin.
Oh, sorry, Justin. Justin and Eli, are you there? Okay, let's try and work this out. Have we connected yet? We haven't connected yet. Okay, so we'll just kick off the chat without them, yeah? Well, guys, we're going to run a feature tonight on a special band called Break to Broken. And first I want to welcome Clint into the studio, one of the members of... this post-punk band, Break to Broken. So, Clint, how about to kick off our discussion tonight in a few words only, because we're going to go deeper later. Who is Break to Broken?
Break to Broken is three, can we say, old guys. We're all over 40. Three guys that kind of found each other online, not by chance. It was a little bit planned, but we can get into that later on. But yeah, three guys with similar interests, I guess, similar views, similar taste in music. And yeah, we've come together, one Australian and two Americans, to make some music. So yeah, we kind of formed during COVID. And we've got an album out now and an EP. We've got a new EP coming out in a few weeks and probably a second album later in the year. So yeah.
Yeah, so I was going to discuss this later, but I hit the song on Spotify just then, Break to Broken. I was excited to play one of your tracks on the beat, but I played another track. Actually, wasn't by you guys, but you mentioned that this track is kind of special anyway. What was it that we listened to?
That's right. The song you played is actually called Break to Broken, and we named our band after that song. So it's by a band called One Last Wish, and that album was from 1986 from memory. And we all loved that album. We were searching for a band name when we started out, went through a few things, and settled on that one because no one had taken it. We thought it sounded pretty cool, and it was a bit of an ode to one of our favourite bands.
All right, so I think on the tech side that was my responsibility to make the call from my computer, right, on WhatsApp to the boys. So let's give it a go. But in the meantime, let's just line up the track that we wanted to in the first place on the beat. Do you want to just quickly introduce this track while I line it up, Clint?
Yeah. This is the third song off our first album called The War on Sparrows, which came out in September 2022 from memory, maybe August. It's probably a little bit different to some of the other songs on the album, but I think it tells a good story lyrically, and yeah, it's got both Eli and myself singing on there, so yeah, hopefully it's a good introduction to Break to Broken.
All right, so Eli and Justin, if you're listening, I promise we're about to call you right away. But in the meantime, everybody, you tune into Radio Blue Mountains and you're listening to a feature on the post-punk band Break to Broken, and this is On the Beat.
Becoming jaded, we're dying now, but this is about you.
Yes. Now we're going to welcome, kind of in an online fashion, to the studio. Justin, are you there?
I am here. Can you all hear me?
We can.
Oh, great.
So it's kind of cool because what I've heard from you guys is you rarely chat like this by voice, the two of you. Is that the case?
This is probably the third time I think we've all like been on a chat together where it was audio or video. Typically, it's all through just typing. So yes.
Wow. So Clint,
Yep.
Can you confirm that? Like, you guys have produced 2 EPs, a full album. You've been a band collaborating since 2020, and this is the third time you're talking to your band.
Yeah, I think about the third time would be correct. We saved the first time until the completion of the first album, so it actually took us about 2 years to have our first celebration chat, I guess you could call it, after the album came out. So, but yeah, it just works. That's the way we do it, you know. It's not the way most people would do it, but we find it works.
Very interesting. Well, I guess it's time for the genesis story then, like how you guys met. You mentioned something about during the lockdowns of COVID. You mentioned that, I mean, whoever's listening right now is probably thinking it's a little bit strange that these guys have put out so much music and they actually don't talk to each other. So come on, guys, hit us with the full in-depth story of how you guys came to be at Break to Broken.
Yeah, well, if Eli's there, maybe he can kick off with this one.
Oh, sorry, it's not... oh, Eli's here as well, is he?
Yes, indeed. Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. Welcome to Radio Blue
Excellent.
Mountains. Yeah. So
Thank you.
So the genesis story of you three men.
The genesis story. I'll try to be as concise as possible. But yeah, during COVID times, at least for me, I wasn't really big on social media too much, but I was just looking for some things to make me smile during that whole period of time, and came upon a group, a Facebook group, which was centered around the band Fugazi, the infamous Washington, D.C. Band. And was thrilled to connect with people on there based on our mutual love of the band. And one day a post came through from an Australian gentleman named Clinton, and stated, or asked rather, would anybody be interested in connecting or collaborating on music in the vein of Fugazi and other similar bands? And Justin chimed in. Justin, this person I also didn't know. Yes. And I jumped on and I said yes. And before we knew it, some demos started flying around, and rather rapidly we realized that it was working. We all connected musically, as Clint was saying earlier, and conceptually, and in terms of our ideals and our ideas and everything, and it just really gelled very, very nicely in a number of ways, and we found a method that worked for us, and it's really been working ever since.
And Eli, is this kind of collaboration anything that you've ever experienced in the past before this?
Not quite like this. No, I've done some remote collaborating musically with some friends over the years who have moved away from where I've lived, just former bandmates, just based on necessity, but nothing quite like this. This is, in so many ways, this is a very new, exciting thing. It continues to be very exciting and enthralling. So the short answer, I guess, would be no. This is the first time I've done something like this.
How about you, Justin?
Same. I mean, I've had circumstances where I've been asked to like contribute maybe a bass track to a song, and it's the kind of thing where you just do it and send it off, and then it's pretty much done. But this is different insofar as like the collaboration, and one of us might start with a song idea and send it out, and then it kind of gets refined. So it truly is more of like a real band working relationship rather than just kind of contributing remotely to a song track by track.
Right. Okay, and over to the Aussie, Clinton, the man who set out the original post. Why did you send it out in the first place?
Well, I'd done music in the past, had a band with my brothers for years that kind of fizzled out. Life got in the way of that basically. And I'd recorded a lot of demos, bought a lot of recording gear, but it was just kind of feeling like it hadn't amounted to anything. Over the years, COVID came, I was getting a bit down and mopey around the house and, probably annoying my wife a little bit with that. So yeah, bit of a gentle kick from her. I didn't think I could do music with other people, to be honest. I'd always done music with my brothers, so it was a step I probably wasn't willing to take, but I'm glad I did it in the end, and I'm glad I got a push to do that. And the Fugazi thing, I thought, what better place to look, for like-minded people than that. And wasn't sure if I'd get a response. I think actually only got 2 responses, which was Justin and Eli. There was maybe one other guy that chimed in but then never messaged again. But yeah, hit the jackpot first up and it went from there.
All right, that's super interesting. It's definitely an interesting Genesis story, and it could only have happened in, I guess, 2020 onwards, or certainly in recent years. All right, so let's kind of head back a little bit in time then to like the first collaboration that you guys put out together. How did you manage that? And, what did you learn like from that experience?
You guys can go first on that.
Go for it. Yeah, go for it, Justin.
Was it Shadow of a Man, Clint? I think there were probably 2 things that got kicked around because one was the song we just heard, On the Beat, and that was a riff that I had wrote, I think, when I was in college. So back in around 2003, 2004, I remember writing it. I was living in Philadelphia at the time, and kind of just had it on the shelf and figured it was just kind of the start of a song that would get finished at some point, but really never did by me. So that was one of the ones that I shared, and it was really cool to see Clint and Eli kind of just jump in and add these parts to this song that really made it, the jump from just a riff or an idea to an actual song. So that was great. And the process was as simple as me kind of sending it out and them saying, hey, I layered this part on, what do you think? And then just kind of merging them together. And then I think similarly, Shadow of a Man, it was the song that ended up being titled, was Clint sharing a basic guitar track. Then I think I went in and added some temporary drums and some bass. And again, Eli layered on some additional ideas. So that's how the process kind of works, is somebody kind of coming in with an initial idea and then the others kind of layering ideas on top of it until we're all mutually happy with it.
Yeah, he's right. Shadow of a Man was the first one. It wasn't called that at the time. It had a working title. And I remember sending it through and thinking, like, oh God, are these guys going to hate this? What are they going to think? I'm always a little bit unsure about my singing, shall we say. And I remember thinking, they're going to hate this song. Are they going to hate my singing? Are they going to regret, agreeing to like try and do songs with me? But yeah, they seemed to like it. And again, it was, kind of a half-formed demo at the time, not a full song. And yeah, just piece by piece, week by week, we'd send things back and forward. Some drums would appear, some bass would appear. We'd cut a few parts out here and there. And that was the first song. And it went from there. I think we were all in the same situation where we probably had, a drawer full of songs and demos, from the last 10 or 15 years really that we hadn't completed or we'd shelved or, we couldn't finish them to a point that we were happy with ourselves. But once the other 2 got involved, they kind of progressed because we all have different ideas, different ways of doing things, different ways of singing, different ways of playing. So yeah, it's just worked out really well that the 3 styles that we all have come together to make something that works.
All right, cool. So how about we hear from that track, Shadow of a Man, off your first LP, maybe many more to come. I know an EP is coming up soonish. We'll talk about that later. What was the tune's name before it was Shadow of a Man? Can you tell?
If I recall, it was called Jackman, which was actually the name of a guitar pedal that I had sitting there, and I just looked over and said, what do I call this file when I send this through? There we go.
All right, here you guys are listening to 89.1 FM. This is Radio Blue Mountains. This is Break to Broken with Shadow of a Man.
got me breathing it. There's parts that demand it should stay, while the excesses are thrown away. They're not proposing it, approved demand for it. Disappear the toxic displays and replace with insipid plays. For forgiveness or to impress and remove the parts they detest now. Guess how? Like morning frost to me, just cleanse from history. Take it back, disappear the toxic displays and replace with insipid plays. For forgiveness or to impress and remove the parts they detest. It's really no attraction, disappearing, sort out. It's really no attraction, disappearing ways now. Replace now. A third play to infer omnipotence, brought down by a vast intransigence. Group sins tangled up in consequence. They'll pick and choose. You're wrong now. So they got you feeling it. There's no appealing it. Step up, disappear the toxic displays and replace with insipid plays. For position, just not the rest. They'll remove the parts they detest. You are a shell of me.
Yeah, it's just up to 10:30 already, and you've been listening to Broken the Band, and that track was, what was that track, Clint?
Shadow of a Man is the title of that one.
All right, so Eli, we haven't spoken to you for a bit, so what's your kind of, let's say, feeling on that track, like how it came together, how it evolved, and what does it mean to you? Let me put your levels up. Sorry,
That was
I can hear you now. Go ahead.
okay. You can hear me okay? Okay, great. Yeah, that that track, that initial kernel of an idea was quite pivotal in a number of ways, because at the very beginning, still stand by what I said earlier. I was immediately I felt connected to these two gentlemen in a number of ways. Felt very excited to work with them. Couldn't wait to hear what we could do. But as Clint was mentioning earlier, he was alluding to the idea that maybe he was feeling a bit hesitant to share because he wasn't sure if we, the other two Americans, were going to like his idea or ideas. And I felt the same way. I wasn't sure. I mean, I had played in bands throughout my entire life, but there's something very personal and personal about, as a creative person, sharing an idea with other people, especially people you haven't really gotten to know very well just yet. So fast forward, once that first initial idea came through, and I think Justin added to it, I was unable to jump on it as quickly as the other two. So I was just kind of hanging back and listening, and immediately it was, whoa, okay, yeah, this is we can do this. This is going to be awesome. So that something about that really got me very excited, and I decided I was completely all in on whatever this could be, just based on what I was hearing. And and how the song turned out. I love it. I love how it came out. I love Clint's lead vocals. I love the harmonies that we've done. And in terms of the drums, I think it also should be noted that Clint is he'll be modest about this, but he is a recording whiz. He is quite the engineer and very, very skilled. And so when it came to properly recording these songs, for the drums, for instance, when I was doing the drums, it was, Clint was very, very helpful in terms of informing me of exactly where to place the mics and figuring out volume levels and things of that nature, and recording along to a click track to make sure that we could all stay on time with one another, which was very important, especially in a remote collaboration like this. So I could go on and on and on, but those are just some ideas. But I'll stop there.
It's super interesting. I was just saying to Clint just then, I'm just listening to the genesis story of you guys and how, like, you were the only ones who kind of connected after, Clint put out that feeler. And you, I mean, that first track is so tight and so awesome. And you guys that was your first collaboration. I said it was kind of a cosmic kind of meetup that you guys had. And speaking of like how you guys connect and produce music together, and we, I referred to it at the beginning of this conversation, that you guys have only probably spoken, this may be the third time where you've actually had like voice communication. And I guess you tend to communicate just by, message or chat. And that's pretty amazing if you really think about it. And today is obviously a little bit different. And I'm kind of happy to be part of that. And I'm wondering, how your relationship's going to evolve after this. I think it might be a moment to remember. Why is it? Like, that's what I want to ask the three of you. Like, why is it that you don't talk? Yeah.
Yeah, I can jump in. I thought about it too, and I kind of envisioned when we started this, like, okay, there'll be a point where we start to do video chats or audio chats more frequently, and it was really just never needed. I thought we did such a fine job, an efficient job communicating via text in the group chat and sharing files that I think, not to speak for the other two, but when we finally did have that first video chat, we were kind of like, okay, like, it doesn't really add anything to the experience. And if anything else, I don't know, we're like, this is a little awkward. For me, it's just sometimes easier to type stuff out and communicate that way, because you can kind of get back to it on your own terms. So yeah, it was more so of just like stylistically and necessity. It was like, well, why would we do this with an audio or a video chat? Because we're functioning perfectly fine the other way. So maybe that's a I don't know if it's a generational thing, because we're all old guys, but it ended up working out fine. Where we I don't know. I don't think we need to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
For me, yeah, I'd agree with that. But weirdly, there's something gratifying about the struggle of, like there's so much we can do now with technology, and, we could jump on video calls every day and send voice messages, but it harkens back for me a little bit to, having pen pals and having to send letters and wait for a response. Like there's something like organic and just gratifying about that experience to me. And, you speak enough to people all day in your job and your life, and, maybe your voice box needs a rest, and it's just good to get it out through text.
Sounds a little corny, but would you say that you guys communicate better through the music than through voice?
Maybe.
That's interesting. Yeah.
A little bit of a philosophical stance on that. So we heard from Clint, and sorry, I'm getting you guys confused, Justin and Eli, because I haven't met you guys face to face, right?
Well, neither have I.
Right, that's the point, right? So who was the third one who hasn't answered this question yet? I'm curious for your take. Who hasn't spoken yet on this?
Eli.
Okay, yeah.
The whole communication thing, yeah.
Yes, I thank you. Yes, I was going to add to that as well. Yes, I think just the obvious piece of it, the fact that well, at least Justin and I are here in the States, and Clint obviously is over in Australia. So the differing, the timing, right? Like right now, it's approaching 9 a.m. I'm gonna have to run to bring my kids to school. In fact, in a couple of minutes here. But yeah, I think the texting made it much more fluid, as opposed to having to schedule calls frequently so that we could collaborate and talk about ideas and everything. We found a way to communicate effectively and efficiently that really worked. And so, like, as Justin was saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But of course, if there is ever a need for us to jump on, we're always open to that. We just haven't really felt the need. Life gets a little hectic. Life is a little busy. So yeah, whatever makes it easier, and but at the same time makes it okay for us to get our points across and communicate.
Do you guys think that a virtual gig is a potential possibility? I mean, we're having a virtual conversation, so if you hooked up your instruments,
well,
Yeah.
I think the technology's there, but it's not very punk, is it? Really, like I think it'd be I think it'd be better to save that for, you know, it's kind of like when I'll see major punk bands play now, and they're not even using real guitar amps on stage anymore. They're using like amp modelers hidden behind a quad box that's not even switched on and things like that. I'm like, you know, you got to stick to the punk ethic a little bit.
All right. Well, I know, Eli, you just mentioned you probably have to run off, but like, since you do, let me ask you, do you have a favorite track of the moment? And if you do, like, what is it, and why does it resonate with you?
Oh, that's a tough one. That's like trying to pick your favorite child.
We'll just pick one of your favorite kids then.
Yeah. No, I honestly, and I know this is not going to be the preferred answer, but I love them all equally, really. I love what we've all brought to all of them and how they've all come together. I'm trying to think of a good one that would be a good one to play. I know you played Shadow of a Man earlier, and I believe On the Beat. I was thinking a relatively newer track, which was kind of something that was left over from the War on Sparrows period of time that we were working on, is one that we ended up titling, or just entitled, Sorry Not Sorry. I love how that one came together. It's loud, it's exciting, it's big. I believe we're all on vocals on that one at some point or another, or at least Clint and I are kind of sharing lead vocal duties, and it just, I don't know, something about that song. I love it. So that might be a good one.
All right.
Play if you're going to play another.
All right, let me line that up. But how about you, Justin and Clinton? What are your thoughts on that track, Sorry Not Sorry?
I always like songs that Justin writes. All of the ones he's written, I always place above the ones that I've written. But then again, you know, we don't actually really write full songs ourselves. It really is a team band, like a lot of bands say it is, but this is literally a 33.3% split in every way. You know, workload, you know, the behind the scenes stuff, the playing, the recording, everything. So, yeah, but the ones Justin starts, I like the way he goes about it. I like his riffs. He plays guitar a lot differently to me. So, yeah, it's a pleasure to make up singing for the songs he starts.
So, Justin, what does this song mean for you?
Yeah, no, that's great to hear, Clint. So awesome. I mean, I think same goes for both of you, and just being able to kind of take something that somebody else has and transform that. I think the three of us are very similar in that respect, where we're kind of like, oh, this is something I came up with. I'm not sure if it's that good. And then the other two are like, that's the greatest thing I've ever heard. And then we'll add to it. So I just thought that was funny. But yeah, this one was just this kind of riff I wrote that was just this kind of almost, I thought it was pretty basic, and I thought, you know, maybe one of them would be able to kind of add it and make it more complex, but they ended up both really liking it, and we kind of kept it as is. So another one where I'll just kind of compile these riffs, and it was kind of just, I was piecing together a couple of different things I wrote to form the idea, and then once you layer on their vocals, that kind of brings the whole thing together. So that was, yeah, same thing. Really love how this one came out, and I would love to play this one live one day. I just feel like it would be a good song to translate live with the kind of energy it brings.
All right, well, maybe you guys should earn some revenue and buy a ticket to America for the man Clinton, who's smiling right now and grinning about the prospect of touring with you guys in the States. In the meantime, this is Sorry Not Sorry. You tune into Radio Blue Mountains on 89.1 FM and, of course, streaming rbm.org.au all around the world. This is Break to Broken.
Say what you want, to say what you need, a stick in the eye. Spend all your nights on praise and revere. No one needs a word they say. Born at the top, born to believe that we choose wrong enemies. They love it, they love it. No one needs a word they say. You got it, but you lose in hypocrisy. The cars are burning. Wait! Are we living at the right place? Did I dream it? Say that you're sorry to offend now, but don't mean it. No apology, all apology. No one needs a word they say. Say you're gonna try to make things right, but you lose hypocrisy. Sorry to offend now, but don't mean it. Wait, are we living at the right place? Yeah, I dreamed it. You're scared because they're right. You're scared because you're blind. You're scared. You're scared. You're scared. You're scared. You're scared. You're scared. In the middle of the bar. Say what you want, to say what you need, a stick in the eye. Say what you want, to say what you need, a stick in the eye. Crime, it's not important. It's time, a paint to pick a side. A prime example of a decline, a vision of the mind. Wait, are we living at the right place? Did I dream it? Say that you're sorry to offend now, but don't mean it. Wait, are we living at the right place? Yeah, I dreamed it.
All right, yes, you're tuned into a special feature, and we're listening to the post-punk rock band, if we have to label them with a genre, Break to Broken. Whoa. Is that another track from you guys, Clint?
It's not, no.
Right, yes, and we've got Clinton here in the studio in Katoomba, and we've got Justin. Where are you, Justin? Where are you right now?
Right now, I am in Richmond, Virginia area in the U.S.
Richmond, Virginia.
So,
mate.
like
Yep.
the Mid-Atlantic region, just about 2-hour drive south of Washington, D.C.
All right. So I always get Washington State and Washington, D.C. mixed up. One's on the west, one's on the east. So you're on the west, right?
East Coast.
Oh,
East Coast.
There you go, mate. I screwed it up. Yeah. So, actually, that's interesting. I want to jump to another question because, I don't know, Eli's not on the phone, not on the call with us right now anymore. Eli, if you're listening, man, thanks so much for joining us. But let me ask you, Justin, what was a question I had? Yeah. I was curious, about you and Eli, if you found like any kind of cultural differences, or challenges in working with an Aussie like Clinton. I'm not sure if you know, but the reason I know Clinton is not through music, is actually because he's the captain of our local cricket team. And I'm wondering, do you guys even know what cricket is?
I think both Eli and my knowledge of Australian culture is wrapped up in the TV show Bluey that both of our kids watch.
I don't even recall that one. Do you recall that one, Clinton? Bluey?
I definitely know it, but I can't say I'm a regular watcher.
But the funny thing is, like, because when I was a kid, I was a redhead. I don't have much hair on my head right now, but, and they called me Bluey. And I don't know why, like, redheads in Australia were called Bluey. Any idea, Clinton?
I got called that myself, and I'm still not really sure why.
Okay.
So,
anyway, yeah.
Learning.
Keep going. Keep going into your foray of Australian culture, please, Justin. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I mean, we did know what cricket is, just as a sport, but in general, nothing like too crazy. Just other than like, oh, you call candy lollies, and we call it candy here. Like, we'll have funny conversations about that. It's more so just the terminology of certain things that we'll laugh about, but nothing else really. We're I think the three of us, personality wise, kind of cut from the same cloth, where we'll joke around a lot about pretty much everything. So not really any cultural barrier communications issues that I've observed.
All right. Well, I guess I need to ask you, Clinton.
There is one funny story I recall. We were singing a certain part in a song, and I was saying the word can't, as in I can't do that. Something along those lines. And Eli was looking to add a harmony, a background vocal singing the same thing. And unfortunately, the pronunciation made it sound like something else. So we kind of had to adjust what we were doing there. I'm sure you can imagine, without me actually saying that. So yeah, there's a few things. Oh, well, actually, for example, our new EP we've got coming out on the 1st of May. Is called White and Grey, and there's a spelling difference between the way those guys spell it and the way I do. So every time we're typing back and forward about that, my phone will auto-correct the spelling, and I'll feel weird correcting it. And, it's the small things, but, generally, especially in terms of music, like we mostly know all the same bands and, have similar tastes and stuff. But I think the guys initially probably, or their kids at least, thought that I might look and sound like Steve Irwin or Mick Dundee, but they were probably disappointed to find that wasn't the case. But
that was a good one. I think, the white and gray one has to do with me not knowing how to spell any word more so than cultural differences. But I may have misspelled it, to be honest. But another one I thought was funny. I think one of the first times you heard us either talk live, it was either on something recorded or just verbally. I remember you commented how many times we say the word like, which is just like built into the way we speak, and I don't even notice I say it. And I think that's definitely an American thing as well. I thought that was funny.
All right. Well, let's delve a little bit deeper into your musical past then, and we'll kick it off with Clint, as he's the lone band member on this side of the world. Clinton, you were on the radio this morning, had a brief conversation, and you mentioned that, a major part of your musical background to date was actually growing up and playing with your two brothers at home. And you referred to that as well today. So, could you tell us a little bit, if you don't mind, like what kind of impact like the family had on your musical background? Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I guess until the age of probably 13 or so, I liked pretty tacky music, like Justin might not know these bands, but things like the Choir Boys and Ice House and, stuff like that. It was probably about the age of 14 where I'd say I got into real music, and ironically, it's all the same bands that I still listen to this day. But yeah, my brother Nigel at the time had a guitar, a cheap one we got from a local secondhand shop, and he used to lock himself away in the bedroom and play that. And initially I was kind of like, he's such a nerd. What's he doing? In there with the guitar, that's boring. And I was out playing cricket and golf and, all those sort of things. But from memory, I think it was my 14th birthday, where I got my first acts. And yeah, self-taught, kind of picked up a few things from Nigel, and then, you know, we started listening to some punk, things like Bad Religion, Descendants, stuff like that. And then, you know, the goal was I would listen to those albums and just be like, wow, like how do those guys play like that? It's unbelievable. I remember seeing the first gigs that I went to and I was just mesmerized about these guys playing guitar, and I just thought I'd never be able to play like that. And then I just, made it my goal to be able to do it. And I think there was some healthy competition between myself and Nigel as to, you know, who could get up to scratch the quickest and be able to play well. And it formed into a band from there. We used to muck around in the lounge room before we could afford real gear. We'd have, you know, Tupperware containers for drums, and we'd have all sorts of things, you know, wired up in our garage, like broomsticks with $3 microphones attached, you know, stuff like that. But over the years, you know, we got better. The gear got a little bit better. We started to learn how to record, and I played in that band with my brothers for probably 12 or 13 years, and we released a couple of albums and played live quite a lot. We were starting to do quite well at one point.
So what was the name of your band?
It was actually called Earth to Nigel. It was named after my brother, and it's, you know, it's based on that saying, like, you know, Earth to Dave, like, are you listening to me sort of thing, you know, when someone's spacing out. And we wanted a nerdy name, and we were thinking Earth to Eugene, Earth to Elroy, you know, the nerdiest names we could possibly come up with. And
you found out the nerdiest name of all
Nigel
was
fit
your
the bill,
brother's, yeah.
And he didn't want to go along with it, but we made it stick, so...
Right. Okay. Interesting. All right, Justin. So I hear you're kind of a veteran of the punk scene in New Jersey, is it? So, tell us a little bit about your background.
Sure. Just musically, definitely at a young age, just being around music. My mom definitely was a huge influence in getting me to listen to music at an early age. The band that stands out the most is the Beatles. So at a very young age, just remember those songs being ingrained into my head. And I got really interested in music around the time when bands like Nirvana were starting to explode. I was around, 13, 14 years old. So I remember that year I was asking for a guitar, and on my 14th birthday is when I got my first guitar and just kind of figured it out from there. And then as I got a little older, started playing with some friends and punk music. I grew up in the state of New Jersey, north here, where Eli lives now. And there was a lot of people my age getting together, forming punk bands and playing shows at local VFW halls and stuff like that. So I got into that scene and started playing with friends. So, hopped around in various bands throughout my teens and into college. Learning kind of as I went through, playing with other people, and went through a time where I kind of...
I think we've lost Justin. That could be my mistake, but are you still there, Justin? All right. So, sorry to drop you off the call there, Justin. It was just by accident. We'll call you back in just a sec. And in the meantime, let me throw this over to you, Clinton.
Sure. Well, this one is actually a song that's going to be released on May 1st. We've got a new 3-song EP coming out called White and Grey. This is actually song number 2 on that one, called Still Breathing. We're all really excited about this EP because we've got a special guest vocalist on the first song on this one. And that's Tim Stewart from Screamfeeder, who are a really well-known and long-standing Aussie indie rock sort of punk band. They've been around for well over 30 years now and got many, many albums, and Tim's very respected in the Aussie music community, and I've been friendly with him for a few years now, so yeah, we're really stoked that he agreed to sing on our song. We can't debut that song tonight, we've got to hold off a couple of weeks on that one, but we can give you track number 2, Still Breathing, when we're ready to go.
All right. I think we are ready to go, but in the meantime, let's just do an ID check. You are listening to Radio Blue Mountains. Clinton from Break to Broken is a local mountain man. I think you're in Wentworth Falls or Katoomba. And the other 2 band members of Break to Broken, Justin and Eli, who I think Eli is maybe back on the call, if we can reconnect it, are in the States. And we got the next song lined up. Clint? Yep.
Yeah, here we go. Still Breathing, song number 2 off our new EP, out in a few weeks.
All right, hit the play button. All right, you tune into Radio Blue Mountains 89.1 FM. We are speaking with the post-punk rock band Break to Broken, and that tune was Clinton. Can you give us a little bit of a back analysis on what we just heard?
Well, you actually heard a world premiere right here on Radio Blue Mountains, Dave. That's the first time that song's been out in the wild. So yeah, Still Breathing is called. Like I said, there'll be 3 songs on this EP. So we were planning our second album to release at some point this year, and probably still is. But we decided to get a little EP out first, just to get some more music out there, and just to kind of celebrate the guest vocals of Tim from Screenfeeder, who I mentioned a few minutes ago, so we can get that out there and, you know, hopefully get Screenfeeder fans listening as well, and maybe some people that haven't heard our band before. And also the fact that, yeah, we're all just really happy that Tim's singing on that one, so maybe we can play that one next visit. But yeah, Still Breathing, one that Justin kind of came up with originally and morphed into something else over the weeks. But yeah, Justin might have something to say about that.
Yeah, Justin.
Yeah, not too much to add to what Clint had said. Another one of those songs where it's just, there's kind of three main parts that I had kind of pieced together. And I think that song originally, it was kind of this like unremarkable riff that I wrote that I shared. And I think that the 3 of us, we kind of just evolved it a little bit, and it came to be the song that you just heard. And yeah, the ones that go through that evolution, I'm always, I think, the most happy with. I just really love when you start with an idea and then the end result kind of is almost totally different from the original idea because of the collaborative effort that we put into it.
Right, and you know, now this is like your 3rd EP. You guys have put out a bunch of different releases over the last few years. I mean, looking back on it now at your 3rd EP, I mean, you know, on a grand scale, like, you know, let's rate it like from 1 to 332. Like, you know, how would you rate this compared to the last 2 releases? And like, you know, basically, like, how have you guys evolved in the way? How has your music evolved over the last 3 years, and how has the way that you guys collaborate evolved to the point that you release this EP right now?
I'll say something quickly on that. I think I'll leave the quality and ratings to the listener, I think, rather than getting involved in that. But I think what we've always aimed for is consistency. All the best bands to me are bands that have, consistency throughout the album. You'll hear a lot of albums and you'll think, the first 3 songs are good, but after that it kind of tails off a little bit. And we didn't want that. Like, we wanted to keep things consistent from album to EP, and also sound-wise as well, because the big part of the band is that we do everything ourselves, and that's the way that we like it. From the songwriting to the producing, we mix the songs ourselves. We record everything in our bedrooms and garages and basements and wherever we can do it. And that kind of lets us have control, over the sound between releases as well, because we're in control of everything ourselves. As Dave's fiddling around with a few cables, just like me in my recording room. But yeah, I mean, that's been a big part of the satisfaction for me, is the control we have over what we do and the sound, and the fact that we can keep things consistent and take our time, to record and mix and get it exactly how we want. So, yeah.
Yeah. Now, how about you, Eli? Thanks for joining us back on the call. What's your rating on from 1 to 248? But no, curious. Like, how was this experience of recording the third EP? Is there any difference or evolution that you've noticed since the first tunes that you guys released back in 2020 or 2021?
Yeah, I agree completely with Clint. Consistency, I think it holds up. This new EP, really excited for everyone to hear these 3 new songs. And I know we just heard one, which is great. I think it completely falls in line and it stands up, holds up. Because when you hold them all, put them all side by side, I think everything does remain consistent. I think it's a good. There's a variety between the 3 songs that I think really works as an EP. And as Clint mentioned, Tim's guest vocal on there was something new for us, which is also extremely exciting. Having someone else step into a song and add some color to it as well, I think it's phenomenal. I think it sounds great. Song that you will eventually hear. And I think our process just continues to become more and more fluid as time goes on. So I venture to say that it just keeps, in terms of the process, it just keeps getting better and easier.
Right. Now it's time for me to ask what I think is the obvious question. I mean, are there any plans for the 3 of you to meet up? Or is this digital band reality going to, continue into eternity?
Yeah, well, it's been discussed briefly, I think, and I'd still like to be convinced that America actually exists, because like they say, until you see it, you can't be sure.
It's all
right?
Hollywood, isn't it?
That's right. So yeah, these guys might just be an illusion, a figment of my imagination or something, But yeah, no, it's something we talked about, and if there's a way to make it happen in coming years and we could somehow line up, to play a couple of gigs or something like that, take the family over somehow, that'd be cool.
So is it more likely that you would go to the States, or that, Justin and Eli would actually head down under?
I think they've always wanted to come here for a holiday, like a lot of people, but musically I think it makes a lot more sense in America. There's a lot more interest in this style of music over there, a lot more venues, probably a lot of other potential bands to play with. It's not as though it's not a thing in Australia, but I think it would make a lot more sense to do it over there.
Now, I'm curious if any of you 3 guys actually played any of your material from Break to Broken live, whether, even if you played it solo. Yeah.
Yeah, Eli, yeah.
Yeah, Eli?
Yeah. Absolutely. I've had the opportunity to I play some gigs solo and another band out here in the States, in New Jersey. And, I had the opportunity to play our song On the Beat in a solo manner. I believe it was two performances during which I was able to play the song and explain to the audience exactly what we're explaining today, the genesis of the band and how important it is to me. And yeah, it was a lot of fun to play the song live. And made me have an even stronger desire to have an opportunity to play it with my Break to Broken bros one day. But yeah, and those solo performances actually weaved into an opportunity. I ended up recording a solo version of that song, which ended up on my Better Half Plus Two EP.
Yeah, Clinton would
Which
know
was
that's
also a lot of fun to do.
Clinton would know that's like my favorite song at the moment. It's been like my favorite song for the
Oh.
last few months, and I've played it quite a few times on this very radio station. So
Oh,
how
wow.
about that's the
Wow.
acoustic version of On the Beat, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thanks for the kind words. That's great.
Oh, it's absolutely an awesome tune, and let's just play it right now. I've lined this one up. It's going to go through the same channel that you guys are speaking on, so if you want to do any overdubs, feel free.
About you, beat cup on patrol relaying a point of view that we're all displaying. You're trying now to reason above you. Push and bleed and show us we fear them. This is on you. Clip stars are glued, related. Raw skin, prime for mutilated. You're lying now, but this never was true. Push and bleed and show us we fear them. Sell more violence. Insomniac, try to settle down. Cause the truth is biting back, and we can see you now. Yeah, we're all set to attack. Try to settle down. Cause the truth is biting back, and they can see you now. You're telling me that it's complicated. Now I know that we're satiated. You're telling me that it's complicated. Now I know that we're satiated. Telling me that it's complicated. Now I know that we're satiated. Bullshit, bleeding. Show us we fear them. Over now. It's over now. It's over now. It's over now.
listening to the band Break to Broken. That was the acoustic version of On the Beat, which is from their, hold on, let's turn that down, from their second EP, is that correct?
Yeah, well, the first EP.
First
technically
EP.
the second release.
Second release, first EP, right. Right. So, yeah, we were just talking about, were there any plans to meet up in person, and if it would eventuate. If it did, I'd like to ask the three of you, if you guys finally met for a session, or even better, a live gig together, what is the first song that you guys would like to play together? Let's ask the three of you. So let's kick it off with Justin. Justin, I'm going to put your levels up.
Yep. I think one of the songs that resonates with me is one that it was originally Clint's. It's called Dragon Slayers. There's a cool, like, old school punk part in there that I think would be a lot of fun to play live. So that one, and then there's a song that was one of Eli's called Off My Mark, which I think would be another fun one to play live.
All right. Well, let's what's the word? Let's go with those two, and ask you next, Clint. Of those two tracks, which one do you reckon you'd like to play first?
I'll go something else, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
There's one called Safe Space, which opens the first album. It's the first song, and I always like it when bands open a gig with an opening song off one of their albums. I feel like bands put songs as an opening track for a reason, so I always like when a gig opens with an opening track.
Okay, so what was the reason why Safe Space became the opening track on the War on Sparrows LP?
I won't lie, I kind of modelled that song to sound reminiscent of Fugazi. There's an opening track on one of their albums called In on the Kill Taker, and it starts off in a vaguely similar fashion, and that's by design. It's kind of, a tip of the hat to that song. It's probably one of my favourite songs of all time. So I sat there with the guitar and thought, how can I make a song sound like that but not too much like it, if you know what I mean? And I think it fits well as an opening track because it showcases all the different sounds of the band kind of in one song. There's two vocalists there. There's some noisy guitar. There's some fast drums. And lyrically, I think it's sharp, I would say. I don't comment on lyrics too much. I prefer to leave that to the listener, as always. But I think it just shows the band well all round in one song.
Well, that's a pretty decisive brief there from Clint for that track. But Eli, it comes down to you then. I'm going to give you the last call. Of those three tunes that you heard, pick one. Which one are you guys going to play in your first live gig together? And then, of course, tell us when that live gig's going to happen. But if you can't, what's the tune anyway that's going to hit the audience first up?
Oof, that is a very difficult one. I agree with Justin and Clint, what they said. All of those songs would be incredibly fun to play live. So again, the answer will always be any song. But today, I think my preferred song I'd want to jump into in a live setting might be a song called Woken Up on our first record, The War on Sparrows. Just a lot of great energy in that song. Dual vocal, actually. Justin might have some vocals in that one. I'm trying to remember. But high energy, loud. I think there are a lot of different dynamics there that also showcase many different aspects of what we do best as a band.
Well, how about we just run a trio of tunes right now, and then we'll come back after that. Just put on the headphones, turn the volume up, and play these three tunes from Break to Broken. Let's start it with Woken Up. It's 11:20 p.m. here in Sydney, and a lot of people are just probably crawling into bed right now. But I reckon this is a better alternative. So here you guys go. Woken Up, Break to Broken.
Right.
People don't have ideas, ideas have people. Take it back,
All right, killer tune, that one. Dragon Slayers, the Dragon Slayers. And up before that, we heard another track off you guys, Break to Broken's first album, The War on Sparrows, that was Woken Up. But yeah, it's just coming up on close to 11:30 p.m. here. You tune into 89.1 FM. This is Radio Blue Mountains, streaming at rbm.org.au. And we've been running a feature special on the band Break to Broken. We've got Clinton here, the Australian band member, in the studio, and Justin and Eli calling in from the States. I want to thank you guys for coming in today. I hope you enjoyed this new step up in communication for the three of you. It's been really interesting. I've got a recording of this, so we'll be sending it out to you guys to have a listen to. Just before we finish up today, like I'd like to know, like, can you guys tell the listeners out there who like what they were listening to where they can find out more about you guys and where they can, hear some of your tunes? Any of you guys, Justin and Eli, you want to chip in and tell us where people can find you?
Sure. If you just go to breaktobroken.com, that'll lead you to our link tree. So a list of links of everything you could find or you'd want to find as far as where to stream, all digital streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, etc. And there's also some links on there to different articles and interviews we've done in the past, as well as our Bandcamp page where you could order vinyl or cassette tapes if you're interested as well. So breaktobroken.com is where you can find anything you might want.
All right, and just for anybody who doesn't know, and I'm not sure if there's any difference in spelling between Aussie English and US English, but that's break as in like BREAKTOBROKEN.com, right, guys? Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
That's right.
All righty. Well, thank you very much, guys. And just before we head out, maybe we're going to play one more song. And I did hear that the three of you recently put out a different kind of song. Not sure if that's going to be on the next EP or not, but when Clinton gave me a chance to hear it, it did catch me by surprise, that's for sure. Found out that it's actually a cover of a Johnny Cash tune. So I'm going to pass over to Clinton now to tell us a little bit about the story behind that one.
So that one is definitely a bit left field for us, but there's a reason behind it. So yeah, my brother Nigel, who I mentioned earlier on from my previous band, passed away in January from brain cancer. And it was one of those things where you what can you do in his memory? Like, you feel a little bit helpless. Like, there's not a lot you can do to make the situation better in that case, obviously. So, The Man in Black by Johnny Cash was his favorite song of all time. So I thought, what better way, as a tribute to him to try and record a cover. And initially I asked Eli for help with the acoustic guitar because I'm not an acoustic guitar guy, really. Eli plays much better than me. And it was just going to be a stripped back sort of thing that I was just going to give to my mum and brother maybe for a listen, and that was going to be it. But Justin and Eli put a lot of time into, laying down drums and bass and acoustic guitar and cello and some other things. So then I kind of felt obliged to try and turn it into something worthwhile. And it was a little bit out of my comfort zone, I'd say, to sing that one, but I hope it turned out okay. It hasn't been on any official release or anything. We've just got it up on our YouTube channel for people to go and have a listen to. So we can play that once the guys are off the line there on the way out.
Right, yeah, just due to technical concerns, we're going to say goodbye to you guys, Eli and Josh, and then I'm going to pull the plug. Eli and Justin, then I'm going to pull the plug out of my laptop and throw it over to Clinton on his phone. So, Eli and Justin, thanks very much. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us, Dave. Yeah.
Nice to chat for the third time, guys.
Likewise, stranger.
Yeah, we'll do this again in a year.
Don't do that, guys. Make it sooner. We all hope. All right, see you guys. I'm just going to throw the cord cable over to yourself. There you go, Clint. All right, we'll plug that one in and just give one last brief intro to this tune we're going to hear.
All right, well, I'm going to guess there's a few Johnny Cash fans in the Blue Mountains.
There probably is, and they're probably listeners of RBM too.
That's right. So hopefully we've done this one justice. It's our version of Man in Black by Johnny Cash.
Well, you wonder why I always dress in black, why you never see bright colors on my back, and why does my appearance seem to have a somber tone? Well, there's a reason for the things that I have on. I wear the black for the poor and the beaten down, living in the hopeless, hungry side of town. I wear it for the prisoner who is long paid for his crime, but is there because he's a victim of the times. I wear the black for those who've never read. Oh, listen to the words that Jesus said about the road to happiness through love and charity. Why you think he's talking straight to you and me? Well, we're doing mighty fine, I do suppose, in our streaker lightning cars and fancy clothes. But just so we're reminded of the ones who are held back, out front there ought to be a man in black. I wear it for the sick and lonely old, for the reckless ones whose bad trip left them cold. I wear the black in mourning for the lives that should have been. Each week we lose 100 fine young men. And I wear it for the thousands who have died, believing that the Lord was on their side. I wear it for another 100,000 who have died, believing that we all were on their side. Well, there's things that will never be right, I know, and things need changing everywhere you go. But till we start to make a move, to make a few things right, you'll never see me wear the suit of white. Oh, I'd love to wear a rainbow every day and tell the world that everything's okay. But I'll try to carry off a little darkness on my back till things are brighter. I'm the man in